We'll now open up the licensing commission meeting. First order of business is the approval of the minutes of November 20th. Is there a motion on the table?
Motion to approve. We have no thanks.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Has been approved. Item number 1 is show cause hearing for Enterprise Liquor Store doing business as Woody's Liquors, 266 Broadway. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
It's John Wood, 266 Broadway is the address of the Woody's Liquors.
Great. So this is a continuation from last month.
Yeah.
You were brought before the board on violations of having the door open between the establishments,
right.
the two establishments.
Yes.
We tabled that last month to have Commissioner Guanasso weigh in as well. I think you made some very good points. I think one of the things that concerned me was that was one of the things that you agreed to. I think if you had approached the board a little bit differently, I think that the outlook might have been a little bit different.
Yeah, I apologize for that. Sometimes I try to get my point across in a way that maybe isn't the problem. Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, what I was saying is that basically my point, sometimes I try to get my point across that maybe is a little more blunt than maybe I need to be. So I apologize for that. But I did bring some sales with the door open, and as opposed to not having the door open, and also some a list of customers that would like to see the door remain open.
Right.
So.
Great. Thanks.
Nothing too elaborate on the numbers with the door open and the door closed. I just kept the four of the big issues, the biggest things that we sell: the slices, subs and drinks. Basically, the top 3, and I gave you some statistics of what we're doing with the door closed and with the door open. There is a considerable difference, albeit not major numbers we're doing, but nevertheless, it's numbers that would have an impact on my small location that I do. We don't do a lot of pizza. It's more of a help for the business. We're trying to get better, and we're trying to improve every day. With that being said, the door being open does significantly help, even the amount of slices that we sell, as you can see by the numbers that I provided.
Just as a viewing audience, can you just summarize why you're here today?
I'm here today for having a door open that separates the liquor store from the pizza store.
And when you applied for this license, the stipulations that we agreed to,
yes,
was that door was to be kept closed, and you agreed, and
yes,
you thought that would work out well.
Well, that was 5 years ago, and I was under the understanding that the board wanted me to keep everything separated. With that being said, in the recent year or so, Joe's Market has had his liquor store where you've got food and under one large roof, where he wasn't told to keep everything separated. So I said that I noticed that Broadway Convenience, Dairy Mart also have the same similar type situations, and as you know, things are changing with the supermarkets going to be having liquor in the supermarkets too. So it's a changing world, and 5 years ago I did agree to that, but
and that was the agreement. That's why I voted in favor.
Yes.
That was the agreement, that door would be kept closed.
Yes.
And as far as looking at other license holders in the city, I'm glad you're watching what everyone else does. Mm-hmm. When we vote on someone on this board or myself, I look at the surrounding areas and why I put those restrictions on certain places. Mm-hmm. Joe's Market, first of all, I've never seen them before our board. They've had a license for many, many years. Other licenses we do see here often, at least once, twice a year. Mm-hmm. Joe's Market I've never seen up here in any kind of violation. Yeah. Number 2, Joe's Market is probably on the largest commercial property there is, Squire Road. There are no children that pass by there. There are no children that can go in establishment unless they're driven there. So they're accompanied by adults. You happen to live in a your business is in a residential area. Although it's commercial property, I took that into consideration. People walk by your business, children, every day to go to school, and they come back every day. Your business is quite different from other people's. And yes, you can look at other establishments. You can look at the Dairy Mart. And again, the
Broadway
Dairy Mart,
Convenience.
again, they don't sell pizza, sir. They do not have pizza. No. Pizza is, you don't have to be, although I'm a pizza eater, but children would be more inclined to go and have pizza. And I will tell you, had you said this 5 years ago and said, I'm going to open the door, alcohol, pizza, and you can come and go in between, I would not have voted for it. I voted for it because you said that's what you would agree to, and therefore help you out with your business opening up a pizza store. And you agreed to that. Now, you know, we want to come back, and again, I'm concerned for the children in that area. It's very different from the other places you've mentioned. And you are the only one that has a package store license and a pizza parlor. You're the only one. So I'm not going to compare that with any other license in the city. And every single license I treat as an individual license, and I take all the surrounding factors, the neighborhoods, the children, into consideration before I vote for that. So I personally, it's up to my colleagues, but I see no reason why that door should be opened into a package store. If kids are walking in there after school getting a slice of pizza, I don't know why they have to walk into the package store. And if your employees want a slice of pizza, you know, you go in the other door and you get a slice of pizza.
Yeah.
That's my feelings. Again, you know, residents come first to me in the city. I'm pro-business, absolutely, but pro-business for the area you're in. And that's all I have to say.
Questions. Your establishment's closed at the same time?
Yes.
And do you have, when people are entering your establishment, say kids, teenagers, things like that, do they generally enter through the pizza shop, or do they enter through
The kids enter through the pizza shop generally when they do come in. For the most part, I would, 99% of the customers that I'm relying on are the liquor customers going to the pizza shop from that point. We don't have a whole lot of kids, wish we did, but we don't have a whole lot of kids that come into the pizza shop. If they do, they stay where they are, and they get what they get, and they go out the same door they came in, which is the pizza door. As I mentioned, and I respectfully, I don't agree with you in regards to the neighborhood. Broadway Convenience, he has beer and wine, and there's a convenience store that's much busier than I am, where kids go into the convenience store than they do to my establishment. And they're right in front of the beer and wine, just like they are if they were to come into my establishment.
But they're not going there to eat. They're
going
going
there
to
for
eat pizza. You
convenience
have
items.
common vigilant.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would have to say that, they do sell some subs and things
Yeah.
like that at that establishment.
He does. And again, like I said, I'm respectfully disagreeing with you. And again, it's the world we are in is changing. Yes, I absolutely want to keep the kids away from the liquor. Absolutely, of course, we do, as we always do. But for the most part, it's for the liquor customers that are going in and buying the slices that are passing through from the liquor to the pizza. That when for some reason or another they're not going out and going back and going in the other door. It's for some reason or another, and my statistics are proving this, that if we can keep that door closed, I believe within 6 months I will close that pizza shop. And I'm not saying this to make a threat or anything like that. It's just it is very difficult in this times right now that we are having difficulty trying to survive in the pizza store. The liquor store is keeping the pizza store up and running. I have to be quite honest. And I have 5 employees that I employ in the pizza shop, and they will be unemployed. I'm not saying this to be, it's just a matter of fact. Within 6 months, if it continues on the plane that we are continuing, and if I have to close the door, it will definitely hurt the business.
So then the violations that you've had of this door being open, not supposed to be opened, that doesn't make a difference.
I don't know what you mean by that. I really don't.
Well, you've had violations of leaving the door open, and
Yes.
up till now you weren't allowed to,
Yes.
but you
correct.
just did it.
Well, I think I mentioned, you weren't here last meeting,
Right.
that I had called several people. I talked to Nick over at the health department, and he really didn't know where to send me. So I literally left the door open to get to this point because I wanted to clarify my situation, that the store is struggling, despite the fact that we have the cheapest pizza in Revere, and hopefully a lot of my customers do like our pizza. I have a $1 hot dog. I'm trying to do my best to give people a reasonable product and at a very good price. Unfortunately, the door being closed really hurts the fact that our liquor customers aren't unable to go across.
So you're saying that the people buying the alcohol are really the people that are buying a slice of pizza? Okay.
For a majority of them, yes.
The majority of them? So why not just have a small window,
A small window?
a butler, that you give them a piece of pizza? So this way, no children can go through that door.
That would require more construction. I mean,
So it's just your way, right?
no,
Oh, okay.
you see, I think you're missing the point.
No, I'm not missing any point.
It's a changing world. It really is. And Stop and Shops and everybody else, the supermarkets are going to be wide open for the kids to get their beer, and right in front of the beer and wine and liquor. Everything's going to be there for everybody. And that's what I'm saying, is that we're heading in the direction where, unfortunately, the kids are going to be privy to alcohol right in front of them. And I'm doing my best. I am. I have a small door that I have, and I don't allow the kids to go into the liquor store unless they're with their parent. And so we provide the leadership to let the people know, and my employees know, that kids aren't supposed to be walking in the liquor store. They don't. They don't. There's a general rule. I'm in a neighborhood. Yeah, the 75 years we've been in that location. The only liquor store in Revere that's been in the same location. And we've had some issues, no doubt about it.
Yes, you have, sir.
Yeah, we have. But it's not. This has nothing to do with serving a minor. This is a door. And I'm trying to survive in a very tough economy right now. And again, I have 5 people that have 5 families that I'm trying to keep.
Can I just ask you a question?
Yes.
Where are your other package stores?
Somerville and East Boston.
Somerville. Any of them have pizza parlors? Any other
East
business?
Boston is going to have a pizza parlor, yes.
Do they have it, is what I asked.
No, not right now. Currently, as we speak today, it's not, but it's being built. Yes.
And you've already been approved for the
Yes,
license
I
there?
have. Absolutely. Same situation. Same identical thing, under one roof.
Yeah.
Boston doesn't have any issues with it. I'm in a neighborhood
Well, like I
that's
say-
been there for 30 years.
I look at, I know you're talking a pizza door, but I look at, overall through the years, and that's how I come up with my decisions.
Excuse me, John.
Yes.
How long have you been selling pizza there?
5 years.
5 years? So the numbers have been switched. Do you have numbers from the previous 4 years? The door's always been open?
Door's been open and closed depending on what police officers made it,
So have you had any violations for serving minor?
We've had, unfortunately, a couple of years ago, we had a situation. I've been there for 18 years. I've had probably 2 incidences where, unfortunately, they were timed within a matter of a certain time frame. And 2 employees, one that served an ABC, wasn't that he served a minor. He had given him someone had put on Facebook a free alcohol nip if they come in, and the employee wasn't aware of the situation. The ABC investigator pressed him on it, and he gave him the nip. So it wasn't a situation where we gave a minor a nip, but nevertheless, he committed something that he shouldn't have done. But it was one of those new social things where the kids had putting on something on Facebook, unbeknownst to me or anybody else in my employees. But that was the last thing we had happen. That was about 3 years ago.
Well, did we have a delivery at one point, too, which was less than 3 years ago?
Right within that same time frame, yep, absolutely, yep.
So
Yeah.
that was about 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Do you deliver pizza? Do you deliver pizza
We deliver
and
pizza.
alcohol?
Well, one guy that delivers the pizza, the other guy delivers the alcohol.
So they don't go together?
They don't go together.
Any other questions?
No, I have no other questions.
It's 5 families involved here.
No, I recognize that, and
Yeah.
I respect my colleagues, both colleagues' opinions on any matter. I understand that, where you're coming from,
Thank you.
and
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I was
Do you have
just
anything?
making sure I have all the right information. What's on the floor?
There
Is
isn't
there a
anything
mo-
on the floor yet.
Oh, there's no motion on the floor.
There's no motion on the floor.
I will
What kind-
say that, excuse me, I will say what I was speaking of. Maybe Officer would like to just add a little that I wasn't aware of.
No, the commissioner was asking if there were any recent violations, and I said no, they hadn't. We have had other establishments with recent violations, and Woody's has not had any recent.
Thank you. 18 years I've been there. Been there a long time. I enjoy my stay in Revere. I love having my business in Revere. Yeah, would I have loved to avoid the situations that we had where a delivery driver served a minor? Yes, that was one individial did something he wasn't supposed to do. He was.
Do they carry-
Excuse me, there's never been a situation where a young person with a different slice of pizza filled it over into the...
It doesn't happen.
That
It
doesn't
doesn't. Not
happen.
kids. No, no, no. No, it does not happen. If it does, they're let out very quickly. It doesn't happen. If it happens, it's very rare. And like I said, they are let out extremely quickly. Most of the time, the kids know. The kids are street smart around here. Who are we kidding? I mean, these kids are the kids. They know they're not supposed to be in there. And when they are, they're told to get out.
What hours do you work there?
Me,
Yes,
personally?
Yes.
I'm not there as much as I used to be. Used to do a lot more hours. I have an 11-year-old now, so probably 20, 25 hours a week in Revere.
And who's the manager on record?
Patty Light. I'm the listed manager. I have another manager that's when I'm not there.
And how long has that manager been there?
She's been with me for about 7 years.
7.
Yep. She knows the drill.
Was there a motion on the table?
Yeah, I'm going to make a motion that to allow, I don't see enough evidence to kind of hurt his, to stop his, hurt his business. I don't think there's a direct correlation from the pizza, entrance or one entrance for the pizza with liquor. So I make a motion to approve open, leaving the door open.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would, before I ask for a second on that, I would ask that if this is approved, that in the future, if there are any issues that you have, rather than taking it upon yourself, to come to us and deal with that directly.
I just didn't know I had asked a few people, and unfortunately I didn't get the answer that I would have, that the one you're looking for, and I apologize for that. I will absolutely do that.
I mean, I respect Commissioner Guanasso's position on that. Although I have to agree with you that Broadway Liquors is a prime example of that. I mean, there are more kids going in and out of that establishment than probably your pizza place.
That's true.
And they do serve candy, and they serve sandwiches and deli products. There's a motion on the table to allow you to keep the door open. I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
I would like to be recorded as being opposed, please.
Thank you.
Motion has
Thank you.
passed 2-1.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 2 is Gasco Oil, doing business as Gasco, 520 Broadway. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Attorney Dan Buckley from D'Ambrosio Brown, 14 Proctor Avenue. Gasco is in front of the License Commission this afternoon for an application for a new wine and beer license to be operated at 520 Broadway, Gasco Oil, DBA Gasco. Gasco is a family-run business owned and operated at 520 Broadway for the past decade. Pierre Calawi, who's here today, has been the manager for that decade and is also the proposed manager for the license. In the application, there was a floor plan provided to the commission that gives the schematics of the business. I would also like to supplement that has the floor plan that has kind of an outline of where the beer and wine would be sold as proposed.
I can't reach that way.
That's it?
That's the second one. Yeah, no, they're different. You got it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think the other side. Hold on. So this change that you have incorporates where
that
when
would be
they
the
submitted-
proposed area of sale, or excuse me, area of inventory.
So this is the original.
It's the same floor plan. There just has
Oh,
a
change.
red mark identifying where they would put the beer and wine for sale. Particularly, it's put in that.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Counsel.
I guess there's reasoning behind the proposed location of the sale. First being the reasoning would be it's to be away from what's called, they have a mini mart at the gas station as well, a couple aisles and coolers, and Honeydew in the back. And to be put in that corner, it'd be one, to keep away from the foot traffic of anyone other than there to purchase the beer or wine. Secondly, it's a vantage point from the cashier where they would have to be able to supervise one who's there and one who's taking the beer and wine up to the register. I think that was the point of the thought process of putting it into that left-hand corner.
So I'm sorry, so this is going to be a cooler, this is actually a cooler area.
It's a cooler all along the side of the building, and that area is going to be designated. That front part, there will be coolers for the beer, and the front part of the wine.
So how do you control the sales or the oversight of that particular area of the
Well, the control would be being in a corner. There'd be no other reason for people to go into that corner other than to obtain the beer and wine to bring it up the register. And secondly, there's a clear vantage point from the register to that area, keeping it out of way of the Coke, chips, water, and the Honeydew at the back of the store.
So what are the safeguards of, so let's say the establishment is busy and you've got a lot of people buying gasoline and a lot of traffic in the establishment.
Sure.
How do they police that?
As a gas station and with a Honeydew there, their highest traffic time is in the morning and then throughout the afternoon. Now at that time they have multiple employees working at the store. There are two behind the register, and that would assist on one, being able to sell people the gasoline or whatever behind the counter, and a second person to be able to assist in any of the beer or wine sales.
Any questions?
No, of course, I've got something to say.
I'm sorry?
I'm just wondering why you're applying for this license. It's going to be the fourth one within blocks, beer and wine.
This is something that I know that this company, Gasco, has wanted to do for a while, and they are now seeking the approval from the License Commission. It's been a long-term plan for Gasco to add this as part of their business model.
Now, this is one right at the Lynn-Marsh Road?
No, it's the corner of Proctor Ave, where my office is, and Broadway. It's about 4 blocks down.
Oh, this is the one on Broadway.
Yes.
Okay.
It's in a highly residential area, however,
Yes.
it's commercial on that street.
I'd like to know if there are any opponents here. Do you
Yeah.
have any proponents or opponents?
Yeah,
I'd like to hear what they have to say
Now?
first. Huh.
Okay, all right. What's that?
What kind of signage are you going to have outside?
Business owner doesn't plan on
Usually
changing
it's
anything at this time, and I know it's required to come in front of this commission if there is any alteration of the premises. So if that was the plan, they would certainly be in front of this board.
I didn't know this was on Broadway. I was thinking it was the one on Lynn-Marsh Road.
Are there any opponents that want to speak on behalf of this issue? Opponents.
I think that Peter's a good guy.
Please,
Anthony, my name is Anthony Michello.
Is he on the phone?
are you an opponent or a proponent?
I'm for the license.
I'll say you're a proponent, okay.
Yeah. I'm speaking on behalf of him. He's a good family man, good guy. I mean, I think he should get a BMW of it.
And do you live in the neighborhood, Mr. Michelle? Mr. Michelle? Yeah. Do you live in the neighborhood?
Yeah, 15 Adams Court.
You do? Okay.
Okay?
Great. Thank you.
Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Any other proponents? Any proponents? Please step up. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Barry Simon, 12 Cummings Ave. I live right behind the gas station. I get along with them very well, okay? It's just a couple issues that I have if you decide to give them a license, which I do not oppose to it, but these two issues need to be addressed, and I spoke to him about it. One, at night, especially in the warmer months, it's becoming a hangout spot for kids. They're pulling into the parking lot, they're getting in their cars, they're leaving their cars there. I find sometimes beer cans and stuff thrown over my fence, sometimes a couple syringes over my fence and everything. I have to go out on a daily basis at night and early in the morning when my dogs are out there. I got to clean it and pick it all up. That's one thing. The other thing, which I also spoke to him about, is that they go to the bathroom behind the building. He's agreed, we've talked about it, to put a fence up there. At least that would stop them from going behind there. So all I'm asking is that as long as that fence is built, and if he can try to, stop these people from congregating in that lot, I mean, I don't have a problem with, if you give him a license, I don't have an issue, but that's the big thing, it's hanging out there, because they make noise at night, and it's like a beach sometimes. They're just hanging out. The cars are just pulling in there, and they're staying there sometimes hours. I'm a regular customer of his, so I go in there every morning, get coffee, I get a newspaper, and it's been a great neighbor. So that's not an issue. I have nothing against him or anything, but I'm just trying to solve this problem before it even gets worse if you decide to give him a license. Other than that, I wouldn't have a problem with it, but I just need that settled.
Okay.
So.
Lieutenant Randall, any issues, have you had any, has the department had any calls to Gasco or any issues related to drugs, alcohol, or anything like that?
Traditionally, Gasco is a hangout in the afternoon, the after-school time. The Broadway route men that we have every afternoon, one of their chief directives is to keep an eye on that area because the kids getting out of the high school tend to congregate there. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's just the physical location spot where it is on Broadway. But we do spend time there on a daily basis during the school year, keeping the kids away. It has gotten better because the kids know that the police are there. So on that front, it has gotten better as far as that goes.
Great. Thanks.
In response to Mr. Simon, I did have an opportunity to have a conversation with him in conjunction with the owner. The owner was agreeing to some mitigation to put a fence in, which I think he's agreed that would solve a problem with people walking back. But I also think it was important, Mr. Simon did also reference that a lot of these issues aren't with people going into the business. It's just the general layout. There is a big parking lot area at Gasco. So it's not really the customer base. It just happens to be this is a big parking lot off Broadway. So I think really issues that Mr. Simon brought up was what's happening outside as opposed to the actual business interior. But we are certainly working with Mr. Simon on this issue.
Okay. Are there anyone else who wants to speak on behalf of Gasco? Anyone want to speak in opposition of Gasco? Please step up to the mic, please. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Mike Gally. I'm the manager of D&L Discount Liquor, 653 Broadway. I'm in business for almost 15 years. 3 or 4 years ago, you give permit license to Broadway Convenience. Since you do these licenses, my business is down almost 30%. I'm hiring like 5 people. I'm working on nickel and dime right now. More licenses means less business for me. I don't know what can I do. Whatever. Sometimes I'm waiting for customer almost 30 minutes or 40 minutes to get a customer in the store. get more license in the street, I will be completely out somewhere else. That's all I can say.
Great, thank you.
Excuse me, did you say for D&L Liquors?
D&L Discount Liquor,
Oh.
653 Broadway in Revere. I'm in business since 1999. I'm doing my best, and my business is down. I'm working on nickel and dime. That's how it is. I don't do that much profit anymore. It's nickel and dime, just to keep my 5 employees working and keep me on the business. That's all I can do.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
I appreciate that.
Council, I have a couple other questions. I mean, I'm sympathetic to the owners, I'm sympathetic to the neighborhood, clearly. You know, I mean, I think the reality with the licenses is that there are licenses available to do business in the city, and there are a certain number, and the fact is that they're available. So, you know, as people decide that they want to enter into beer and wine and things like that, you know, it's our obligation to hear those you know, those applications. I guess my main concern, and I'm not opposed to. I mean, we already have. I think we've already established that there are businesses that have, you know, gasoline, coffee, you know, food, and beer and wine. So, I mean, I don't think, you know, I think we've already established that. My concern here is not the fact that they're applying for beer and wine, is that it's sort of a hangout. You've got a lot of traffic. I've been in there. It's a congested store. I mean, I buy gas there and Honeydew and things like that. I just think that, you know, given the fact that if you're in a period where it's really busy in there, there's no one going to be watching that refrigerator in the corner.
As you've been in there, I've been in there many times. When there is congestion, which I guess is good for any business,
Sure.
That congestion seems to be kind of front-loaded right where they're paying, which is, I guess, the point of having at high volume times, having 2 employees working. Again, one dealing with the customer, and then the other, you know, during that period of time to be able to monitor and use the sale of the beer and wine.
See, I'm not really concerned about somebody going into the cabinet, taking beer and wine out and going to the counter. It's more of, there's a lot of congestion in there. You know, somebody goes in there, grabs a beer, and, you know, they walk out the door in the middle of, you know, all the confusion all traffic that's going on in that.
And I guess that would go to my point, the reasoning for the location at the store, putting it into the back corner. One, there'd be no other reason to be going into that left-hand corner, because it'd be designated for the beer and wine. And again, the vantage point from the register area. Can you guarantee in any store that no one's going to, you know, put something? No.
No, I recognize
But they can
that.
do what they can think of the best way possible to prevent this, and they put the time, they put the expense, and kind of thinking behind that, which is the basis for this location.
What are your plans, if any, to control outside? It seems like no one's controlling the outside after school hours. Is there anything in place to help out with rather than send the police department to clear out your parking lot? I don't think they should be hanging there. It is private property.
Certainly.
So what's the relief to the neighbors?
I've had a conversation again with the neighbors, and and the owners as well, trying to increase the kind of the vigilance in dealing with that on an ongoing basis. Again, if this becomes an issue, we could certainly deal with this in front of the commission. But I know there has been a meeting of the minds trying to mitigate this matter. I know there has been increased foot patrol by the rear police, which seem to have decreased the amount of students in the area. So I know the store owner has said if there's some problems, he would call the police, and clearly that's worked for the issue with the students. And I'm hoping that this would work for any other congregation in the parking lot.
So what is the owner doing right now from his standpoint? What is he doing to eliminate those crowds? I mean, are they policing the area?
They do have surveillance. They do have surveillance cameras if there's any question of the police looking into the matters. But also, I know, and the neighbors told me that he sees the owner outside every morning cleaning up the area. It's a family-owned business, and they take pride in that. They've been here for a decade. So I think they would continue in that area if there are ongoing problems of congregating individuals.
Has any of the neighbors seen any improvement since you brought that to their attention? Please step up to the mic, please. Sorry.
He does go out there every morning before he opens the gas station, just about almost every morning, and cleans the property. The issue is basically, it's at night after 6. Now, a few years ago, before, when the high school used to go, the kids were congregating there. Until they put foot patrols, it's really stopped during the day now with the high school kids. It's basically after 6 o'clock at night when issues come about, when cars just pull in. It's a nighttime issue now. Before, it used to be with the high school kids when they get out. That's now solved with the foot patrols because they don't hang out there anymore. It's just at night. It's just that someone has to be out there looking, constantly how many cars are hanging there, whether they were, how long they're staying there, they're making noise. And like I said, well, the bathroom thing, the fence could be erected for that. That's not an issue now. That wouldn't be a problem. But it's just the hangout part of it, okay? And like I said, he has good neighbors. I don't have a problem with that. And he does try to do his best, but has to do a little better, I think, at patrolling his own lot. I mean, I can't keep calling the cops all the time. It's not my business. I mean, it's not my property. I got my own to deal with.
I understand.
And I try to clean up. But he is out there cleaning it in the mornings and stuff. I mean, the station does become a mess. Our advice is maybe clean it a few more times during the day because it does do a pretty good business.
Okay.
But it's the nighttime is a big issue. That's the problem there.
All right, great.
I would
Counsel,
just like to ask the council one question. He's saying that the cars are being parked there for periods of time. Most of the places have like 15-minute parking.
Yeah,
Why is that allowed long periods of time?
I think
to
the
park?
issue of how the plot is laid out, because it's building and there's parking on the side, so sometimes you can't see if this car is parked on the side of the building if you're in the store looking out through the glass window. Obviously, given this information from a neighbor, this will be addressed.
Well, I think 15-minute parking, if they're going to just get gas and come in and buy something.
I don't think
it's
the
plenty
issue
of
is,
time.
I don't think the issue is the parking at the dispensers. I think because there's additional parking on the side
Right.
that you can't see. But of course, and I've spoken with the neighbor and the owners, and this will be addressed.
So the fence will not prevent the hanging out of.
No,
That's going to happen either way. The fence is there to prevent.
to mitigate any potential trespassing.
exactly.
Okay.
No access
So we
to
still got an
that.
issue with the activity at night and impacting the neighbors, and that's the one thing that's kind of caught my eye. And Officer Randall as well has brought that up. That's one of the first times he's brought up a neighbor issue with an establishment that's wanting either liquor or whatever.
Certainly, and
So that's the thing
the owners of the business are certainly willing to deal with this issue again. And I think Mr. Simon brought this up, or maybe I brought it up on his behalf, was these aren't customers a lot of times that he's noticed that they're pulling in maybe to drop someone off or pick someone up in different cars. And it's not really the interior, but it is in the parking lot. And certainly now that they're dealing with this issue, we'll attempt to mitigate the problem.
So can you give me an example of, so obviously he's there during the day, and so at night, I imagine you have a manager on duty?
The two employees, Mr. Alkawi would be the proposed manager's license. He's there 40-plus hours a day.
Gotcha.
And there's an additional worker in the evening hours. I've been there personally, and I can tell you that in the evening hours, there's no real crowds. Maybe sometimes there are, but I generally don't see crowds. So it's more of a time where one person could handle the traffic.
So what do they plan to do in the evenings, just to sort of control that flow, that loitering or flow in the neighborhood?
The loitering on the exterior, first, and we had a conversation with the neighbors. Go outside, have them go. If they don't go, then it's reporting it to the police.
Sean, excuse me, Sean, does that sound the most they can do for the most part? Is that sufficient on your end?
I would recommend them if they can't see, if he stated that when the employee is in the store, he can't see the parking lot from where he is, maybe they should put a closed-circuit camera there so they can see what's going on in the parking lot when they're inside without having to go inside. Because if there's only one employee there,
Yeah.
and he's dealing with customers, I don't understand how he's going to be able to control what goes on in the parking lot.
Yep, that's certainly
That would
acceptable.
work.
That's better.
Yeah, okay. All right. And in the evenings, so around the, I'm sorry, at the peak areas, there's at least 2 to 3 employees in there.
Multiple employees at that time. One is going to be, again, designated for the monitoring sale of the beer and wine, other handling for the usual foot traffic.
Okay, and is Honeydew their employees, or?
Honeydew is not their employee.
So they don't have any oversight over?
They have no oversight, but in particular, it's in the back of the location.
Yep.
Again, one of the reasons for the proposed location of the beer and wine.
Okay. Okay. Is there a motion on the table?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the wine and malt beverage license stipulation that they do have the closed-circuit camera and the fence, in place prior to start selling the beer and wine.
Is there a second to that motion? I'll second that motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Your application's been approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Item number 3 is Dairy Mart Liquors, doing business as Dairy Mart Liquors, 160 Squire Road.
Good afternoon, Dan Buckley, D'Ambrosio Brown, 14 Proctor Avenue. The application before this commission is an application to alter the licensed premises located at 160 Squire Road. The owner, Kevin Lang of Dairy Mart, was in front of this commission approximately 6 months ago, where it was transferred to his ownership. Since then, it's actually been a long process because what they're seeking to require zoning relief from the city council. They are seeking to replace the rooftop sign and replace the freestanding sign along Squire Road. As they were non-conforming, they required an application for a special permit for the city council. After speaking with the members of the council, zoning subcommittee, and neighbors, the special permit was unanimously approved in October. As there's a requirement to be approved by the License Commission to the altered premises, that's why we're in front of the commission today. I've attached the proposal to the application of what currently stands there and what's seeking to be done. Essentially, the rooftop sign, and I think it's important to know, is the same size as it currently is. And it's just changing the verbiage and updating it.
Is there any changes to the inside? Because I don't know that that has to come before us, the signage. I think that goes through the city council.
Okay. There's no change to the inside.
Right, well, that's when we would have to approve any changes to the inside seating or...
I do know I've been in front of this commission before. They cited a business with a restaurant. They were changing the signs outside, and they said that the commission said that they needed approval first.
I think that was for the seating inside. They were asking for seating.
No, there was a different, on Revere Street, a Colombian restaurant. We're changing the signage, and the commission requested an application for approval.
So the sign that in the approval of the licenses the last time around, didn't we make stipulations that about signage in the establishment. I guess I'm
I
sorry.
think
go
it was
ahead.
in the windows, not to put
I think-
signage in the windows. But I think the one you're talking about, Revere Street, was a name change also. So you would have to come to the board for a name change.
You might be correct.
That's-
It was a few years ago, but I know.
Right, but I think that's because of the name change. But from what I understand, all the permits were given for this signage through the city council. And if you're not doing any alterations on the inside, such as moving your coolers or
There's-
anything like that, I think that's the only reason you would come before us. A name change or alterations of the interior.
If it's the commission's decision,
Well-
there's no need for approval, then,
I think so.
Yeah, I don't-
You
I don't- we
did have
don't-
the approvals though,
Yeah.
correct?
pardon?
You did get the approvals in the.
A unanimous approval for the signage, that was for the zoning relief,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I don't know, I mean, I'll
No,
Listen to my
I
colleagues.
would agree. I don't see anything, I mean, you had a floor plan in here. We didn't know if you were changing the
No,
format.
it's the outside signage,
right.
Yeah.
as it's on top of the building, and
I mean, we believe that was a city council issue. You had it approved there, and we really don't have an opinion on that. I think it's their decision to do that.
thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Five 51 Revere Street, Inc., doing business as The Cove.
What happened to the rest of the group? No?
They're not showing.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
Hi, please state your name and address for the record, please.
Martin Dolan, 74 Arcadia Street, Revere, Mass.
Great, thanks. And you're approving for a special 3-day license?
Yes, please.
And what exactly are you planning to do there?
We're going to have a going away party and a fundraiser for the Dialysis Relief Fund of America. And we just want to have a 3-day get together, basically, and say goodbye to an establishment that we've had for 27 years.
Okay. And,
Well, the only reason we would ever give out a 3-day, before we go any further, a 3-day license would have to be for a charitable event, not a party.
It's for the Dialysis Relief Fund of America.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, that's what it's for. My father is on dialysis, and we'd like to raise money and give it to the dialysis fund.
Well, that's fine. That's all. I just wanted to clear that up.
Yes.
That this is to hold a fundraiser for the weekend.
Basically, yes.
great. And do you plan to serve any food there at the event?
Only
And how-
what everybody brings.
Okay.
Everybody is bringing something. If somebody is going to bring a tray of this, somebody's going to bring a tray of that. So, that's what we're doing.
Okay, because it was our understanding that the fire department has some issues associated with the kitchen.
Yes, we already talked to Mr. Maniff and everything else. Everybody is going to bring something.
Okay, and he was okay with it so long as you didn't use the kitchen
We're not
area.
gonna do any cooking.
Okay.
And when will this start? What day is this, on Friday?
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday would
Friday.
be nice.
And what are the hours? What are your hours?
Regular
Regular
hours,
hours.
12 to 2. 12 to, closing.
Well, right. Okay, I know Mr. Dolan has been having dialysis for quite a while. I wish you well.
Any
Any
questions?
motions? I have no questions. No? Is there a
Well,
motion on the floor?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the license for 3 days.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. No? Or you just,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, aye, that's fine.
vote is unanimous.
Good luck.
I'm a resident of Revere for 80 years. I love this city.
Thank you.
Thank you. It is.
What's that?
Yeah.
I can read how it's written.
Item number 6 is a show cause hearing. Show cause hearing for Wonderland Entertainment LLC, doing business as Wonderland, 1290 North Shore Road. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Taras Revic, 70 Bellingham Street, Chelsea.
Great. We understand that Mr. Del Pidio could not be with us today.
Yes, I apologize. He is on vacation out of town at this time.
And I think that, you know, I think it's important for him to be here. However, there are some issues that, you know, before we address the event that took place a couple of weekends ago, this board is concerned about the events that are going to be going forward, and what you're planning to do with those at this time.
Right now, I have a list of the upcoming events that we have booked at the ballroom. Right now, on Saturday nights, every week, we have a weekly existing Latin night that happens. It's been going on for about 7 years now. Clientele, a little bit older, 30s crowd. They've been coming there for many years. Downstairs in the smaller room, we have a Brazilian night that goes on every Saturday as well. Average age, 25 to 30 for that. And then we have a list of concerts in the ballroom that we have coming up over the next month and a half that I have a list here.
Our concern is that, you know, Wonderland was just up before us, you know, a few weeks ago, and you know, in that instance, I think that we understood that, you know, some of those things were out of your control. These are clearly within your control. One of the things that was disturbing to us was that there was one police officer, one detailed police officer at the establishment, and I don't know how many security people, but it was clear to us that that the establishment wasn't closed at 2 o'clock, that it was open till 2:20, that a lot of the patrons came out of there intoxicated. There were a number of incidences throughout the city that you know, the police chief and the responding officers took very seriously and are very concerned about what's happening down at that ballroom. I'm giving you the background on that simply because I recognize that I want to give Mr. Del Pidio the opportunity to address it, but I bring it up because I have very serious concerns about allowing those events to happen in the interim until we can get an opportunity to have that discussion with Mr. Del Pidio. One of the recommendations that the chief of the police department made was that he would like to see more details. He doesn't want to see one police officer at the establishment. I think that what we'd like to do is call a special meeting next week, have Mr. Del Pidio come in, address the commission. But before any other events take place, I'd like you to meet with the chief and Lieutenant Randall and come to an agreement that's acceptable to the police department so that they have they come away with a fair amount of comfort that the establishment isn't going to have a repeat of what we had a week or so ago.
Sure, absolutely. Mr. Chairman, may I?
Please.
Shirok Reza.
Please state your name.
Shirok Reza, one of the partners at I came in as a courtesy because I know Mr. Delpedio was on vacation, and I wanted to assure this board and the police department that Taras is very experienced in the industry. He's done this for many years, and what we understood as that night was, that's coming from our detail officer as well. Unfortunately, he's not here, but our understanding was that we stopped serving at 1:45. We closed the music is off by 2, and we have until 2:30 to disperse the patrons out of our establishment. And if that's not the case, then I think that's what happened, and that's where the confusion was. But that night, we never served liquor after 2 o'clock. It was way earlier than that. That was cut off, and the music was cut off before 2 o'clock. The people that Sergeant Mason, I believe, had observed were the people that were exiting the establishment at 2:20, and that's, for us, has been, we understood it as we have until 2:30 to make sure no patron is in our establishment. And if it's otherwise, then please clarify that for us. And
So I think that I can't imagine that you're confused at what time they're supposed to be out. You have a 2 o'clock license.
We're not, ma'am.
What would make you 2:30?
No. Everything ends at 2. But
No,
as
no.
far
It's
as the
supposed to end at 2
customers
o'clock, sir.
exiting the building
No, you're supposed to, everybody's supposed to be off the premises by 2 o'clock.
by 2 o'clock.
And, you've had the business for years. This business has been there for many years.
Absolutely, ma'am.
And it's always been 2 o'clock. So now you're telling me you don't know what the license reads? That to me is, I find that very hard to.
That was my personal situation in here, and I apologize for it.
Was anybody else there? You were the one running
I was
it?
not even present at that night. I'm telling you, based on what I have operated in Boston and some of the other cities, what the law is of getting the patrons out of the establishment. And I was being as honest as I could be. I apologize if it's wrong. It wasn't meant to be any...
Well, it certainly...
certainly is wrong.
It's wrong. Our neighbors deserve more respect than that. And to be honest with you, since the 2 o'clock license, you've been up here twice. Haven't seen anyone else. Everyone else seems to know what time they close, what time last call is, music goes off. And I think, I could be wrong, this board has actually asked that music is turned off at 1 o'clock, if I'm correct, remembering that.
For live entertainment, it was 1 o'clock.
And you people, you all of a sudden got the impression you can stay till 2:30, people can just leave at 2:30?
No, ma'am, that was not the impression.
This is a residential area you're in, and this has been for years. And it seems like this establishment always forgets the rules and regulation of their license. And for what happened that evening, I got personal calls from people in that area that live down in Kelly's Meadows calling me as to how the people left that establishment. I mean, I don't know, how many people were there that evening?
You have to understand, there were, and this is again, I wasn't personally there, and we thought this was...
That's why it's very hard.
I would like to have Mr.
One of the things that bothers me the most is where is the management that is overseeing this, and one of the things that when we talked about going to 2 a.m. One of the things that we talked about at going to 2 a.m. was that you're going to police inside the club, outside the club in the parking lot. You're going to make sure that people get out safely. That was one of the main concerns, that neighbors weren't disturbed. The first incident we had disturbances in the garage. We had disturbances, crowd control issues. I understand why that happened. But it can only happen once because, I understand if you lose control of a promoter, but by the same token, you should be really knowing who you're dealing with. But in this case, this case is a situation where there was activity throughout the city. The entire police force was called to the scene, which left the city unprotected that evening. And to me, that's a serious issue. I just can't, we supported 2 a.m., and I supported 2 a.m., but I have to be honest, that, you know, there are a number of establishments, we haven't had any issues, it's been great. You really need to get a handle on what's going on there, and I don't have that comfort. I don't have that comfort right now, and before, like I said, before we allow you to go into this weekend, I want you to sit down with the police chief, and I want the police chief to tell us that he's satisfied with the agreement, whatever he and you agree upon. But I want to see you guys back here next week, and I want to address it next Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
And we want to make sure that before you go into next weekend, that we've got a pretty good understanding as to what happened, how you're going to deal with it, and I mean, somebody has to know the closing times there. I mean, that to me is so disturbing. It's
Mr. Chairman, that was my understanding, and I'm not the manager of record. I'm not there on a regular basis, Tara. I can assure you, I wanted to assure you, there was no music played past 2 o'clock. There was no alcohol served past 2 o'clock, and everybody was, you know, they were getting them out. So it wasn't like we played music past 2 or we served alcohol. That it ended way before that. It was patrons that were waiting for the coat in the coat room.
But sir, there still is no excuse.
I understand that, ma'am, and it would never.
They could be waiting for their coat, so what? It was 2 o'clock. I'm
then
concerned about my city.
Then arrangements should be made that, you know, that either you close earlier so that people can get their belongings. If you can't get them out in an organized manner by the appointed closing time, then you've got to make other arrangements to get them out by that.
So what we got? So we got some serious violations here. Have to be addressed next week with the chief. I think we just let's close it for now.
Well, actually, let me clarify that. What I want Wonderland to do is meet with the chief before this coming weekend, and I want a plan that's acceptable to the chief.
Yes, sir.
And then once that happens, then you know, you could go into this weekend, and then on Wednesday next week, we would expect you to come in prepared to address all of the issues. Have whoever you need to have here that was at your event and that was in the premises that was in a security role, or whoever you designate you want to come here. The police are concerned about it. I know the number of the responding police officers will be here to also talk about the issues there. All right?
Yes, sir.
I also would just like to put on record, I'm not in favor of going forward, and I just want that to be known. I will go along with my colleagues if that's their wishes. But I am extremely uncomfortable saying, okay, now go back, open up tonight, and, you know, continue business, taking into consideration all that happened. And as a taxpayer, what is it costing the taxpayers to tie up so many police officers and police your building? I don't think that's fair to the taxpayer, and I just want to be on record as saying I'm not comfortable with this arrangement right now.
Well, and I think that it's one of the reasons why we're having them meet with the chief is to get the chief to have the chief give them an opportunity to address how they're going to deal with the things this weekend, but to come away from that meeting with something that is acceptable to the chief. I mean, I think given that, you know, and the fact that it's an over 30. Is that what you said coming this coming weekend?
No, they're looking for 18 and over.
It's 18 and over this week?
No.
That's for the one day?
That's Valentine's.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
Valentine's Day.
Okay.
So this event that's on.
What we have on the agenda today was to get an approval for an 18-plus event on Valentine's Day.
And I think we're going to table that until we get this thing resolved.
Yes.
But I'm talking about this coming weekend. Your establishment has what, a 30-plus Latin?
Latin night upstairs, Brazilian night in the small room, and a Latin salsa concert in the mall.
Concert.
So there's 3 different rooms being used over the weekend.
So explain,
We'll make sure we'll have clear everything
I know, sir,
with the,
that doesn't give me a lot of,
Captain.
I'll be honest with you, that doesn't give me a lot of comfort right now based on the fact that you've been here twice in the last 3 weeks.
I will say on behalf of the police chief, I'm sure he will straighten things out. He's not happy either, as this board isn't. And when you meet with the police, we'll see what happens, the police chief, we'll see what happens. But I'm not comfortable at all.
Yeah, we're definitely going to want to have the chief weigh in, and his decision will weigh in very heavily on what we decide for this coming weekend. But I would suggest that you coordinate with Lieutenant Randall and get a meeting with the chief before this weekend.
yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, ma'am.
As long as they can call the chief secretary, we work with them, and I'll make sure I'm
Great.
I'm not on the one day.
Yeah, I'm probably in with you on that one.
Once the 14th, I'm not done.
Okay, item number 8 is show cause hearing for Revere Liquors doing business as D&L Liquor, Discount Liquors. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, hi, my name again, Mike Galley for D&L Discount Liquor, 653 Broadway, Revere.
Great, and you're up here because of a violation
Yes,
by the Revere Police Department, Sting?
yes, I am.
Great.
Basically, I'm in business almost since 1999.
Is this mic on?
I think that's my...
Is your mic on? I'm sorry. Is your mic on? Is the red light on?
I see it's on. I don't know.
Okay,
Okay.
great, thank you.
I'm
Sorry.
in business since 1999. I assume this is my second violation for almost 15 years. Usually it happened when I have a new employee. I used to have a lady, she worked for me almost 15 years, and she just retired. And I had this gentleman, Gary, almost 6 months ago, he took over her hour. Usually I have almost like 25 cameras in the store and outside the store. I control my establishment very well, in and out. I always check on him. He always check ID for minor, for even 40, 45 years old people. I don't know what happened. He can explain for himself what happened, but basically mistake happened. No excuse for mistake, but it happened. I apologize for that, and for sure it's not our policy. I'm running honest business for 15 years. I try to do my best. I help even police department sometimes. I have the camera outside. If something happens outside or inside, as soon as I can, I get to my establishment, burn CD, pass it to the police. I'm always helpful to everyone. It's not my policy at all to sell to minor. It will never be. I don't need that business. That's all I can say for.
So how do you plan to rectify that, this situation doesn't happen again?
What he told me, I just checked the tape. I swear to God, almost 1 minute before, a lady almost 40 years ago, he checked her ID. I swear to God, 1 minute ago. I told him, what happened? Why did you let this lady go? He said, I was tired at the end of my shift, and I was just walking out of the door, and his replacement just came. That's what he told me, and he can talk about himself. But it's not my policy at all to do any business with minor. I always fight with not just minor, with people I assume they are overdrunk or they are not fit to buy liquor. I fight with them. I call the police. I kick them out of my business. I'm so tough. I don't know what had happened, but it happened. I don't know what to say more than that.
Lieutenant Randall, you want to weigh in on this at all?
I personally was part of the compliance check sting that night. We hit that particular night, we hit each of the package stores in Revere. We had 2 underage operatives with us. They're instructed to enter the premises with marked money that we had, instructed to buy they were, I think, told to buy that night a 40-ounce Budweiser, and if they could. And when they entered this establishment, the female operative went to the cooler, got the 40 ounce of Budweiser, brought it to the counter. I believe she said they would, they don't have any sort of ID with them. If they're asked for an identification, they just simply leave the premises. She was asked for an identification. She told the clerk that she didn't have it. She forgot it. He told her, I believe she said he told her, make sure you bring it next time. And then he completed the sale and sold her the alcohol.
And what time was that? Approximately,
It was probably around before 8 o'clock.
Or 8 o'clock. Okay. Any questions?
Before 8 o'clock, so what time does your employee work till?
What time was that?
Working till 7, but the person who was coming to switch
7:02.
was a little late.
So the employee had just come in.
No, at the end of his shift. He worked from...
I was supposed to leave at 7.
He worked from 1 to 7.
Why don't you come up and speak in front of the mic, please?
Yeah, it was just before 7 p.m.
It was just before 7.
So,
7:01, 7:02. That's exactly what time.
Oh yeah, it was before. I was supposed to leave, but the other employee who was supposed to come and switch, he was running a little late, so I stayed a little longer. Till he got there, and then the young lady came in, and
okay. How long have you worked at D&L Liquors?
about like 6-7 months now.
6-7 months. Okay. What kind of training do you provide to your employees?
It's all kind of training. I always, it's basically a big issue to check ID. That's fairest of all. Check ID. Don't serve people alcoholic or people whatever it is. It's out of.
When was your last incident?
I'm sorry.
When was your last incident selling to a minor?
I don't recognize it. Maybe 3 years ago. It was also a new employee. After 6 months, basically, or 3-4 months, I don't know how long, he got caught. But he learned from this issue.
So how do you prevent that from happening again?
I swear to God, I don't need this kind of business. I swear to God, I don't need this business at all. I'm 15 years. I'm done. I'm ready to retire. I'm done. I don't need it. He did a mistake, and that's what happened. Yep. I don't like to fire the gentleman. He is honest. He's a good employee. He's doing the best he can. I'd like to keep him. Usually, I let him go if I feel he do that for whatever reason. But it's a mistake. I'd like to keep him. That's all I can say.
Okay. Any questions?
Any other, Sean, any other violations, amusement machines, anything like that in the past here?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about getting out of the business?
I'm sorry?
You mentioned that you're thinking about getting out of the business?
Not for time being. I have two kids in college. I'd like to stay. But I'm sick of it. 15 years. I'm tired. I do my best, and always people give us hard time, fighting with us, call the police. Even in my store, I swear to God, someone came with a hammer to try to beat another customer. Myself, ask him, I jump over the counter to stop crime in my store. I put myself on risk in front of hammer to stop crime in my store. What do you need me to do more than that? I swear to God, I jump in the middle of the counter to stop crime in my store. Someone was going with hammer, not in my store, following him from the other store, from outside, following the customer inside the store with a hammer. I saw it in slip second. I jump in the middle, I protect him, and it's recorded in the police department. And it has, in the Chelsea court, it's recorded. It's not, I'm not lying. I try to do my best. What can I do?
Okay.
Well, I sympathize with you. I mean, these things can happen, but we can't allow them to happen. You've got to really watch. You can't, like you say, you're tired, it's that last person, and that's who's going to do it. I feel bad for the situation. I don't see you people up here many times. I think just one other time, from what I remember. So I do realize those things can happen, but can't happen too often.
Yeah,
it's not too often.
I do sympathize.
I'm in business 15 years. It's not every year or every month. It's twice for 15 years. And it's mistake. It's not policy. It's not distracted. It's just mistake. That's all I can say.
Okay. Is there a motion on the table?
I'll make a motion to table it, and should anything else happen, we will address that again.
I'll second that motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're going to table it. It's been approved. We hope that we don't see you back here. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I wasn't going to make it. I didn't want to see the killers. I know. We have three communications. A communication dated 1/2/2014 from the ABCC. A notice of hearing for David Lightbody doing business as the Boulevard Bar and Grill on Tuesday, January 21st, 2014 at 10:30 a.m. for possible violation of law requiring automatic amusement devices to be in the open view at all times. Communication number 2 is dated 12/2/2013 from the ABCC, a decision that the Revere Lodge number 1171 of the BPOE of USA was found to have violated the law requiring automatic amusement devices to be in the open view at all times. The Commission issued a warning. Violation date July 18th, 2013. Hearing date November 19th, 2013. Communication number 3 was dated December 12th, 2013 from the Mass Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission, a decision that Speakeasy Inc., doing business as Speakeasy, was found to have violated the law requiring automatic devices to be in the open view at all times. The Commission issued a warning. Violation date March 25th, 2013. Hearing date November 19th, 2013. License renewals for 2014 that need approval. Sherry Bramani, Inc., doing business as Anthony's Supermarket, 760 Broadway. Lorena, 3 Leches Cake Corp., doing business as Lorena's 3 Leches Cake, 341 Broadway. Hamadi Bala, LLC, doing business as Nick's Place, 64 Revere Beach Boulevard. Drive-In Diner, 419 Lee Burbank Highway. Entertainment license, Drive-In Diner, 419 Lee Burbank Highway. Class 2 motor vehicles, Avitas John Nakasharian, doing business as European Exotic Auto Sales, 787 the North Shore Road. Maggie, have they come in and paid the fees? They have, okay, great. Bob's Auto Body Services Limited, 1456 North Shore Road. Late applications for renewal 2014, Romero Jimenez Corporation, doing business as Olympia Market, 5 Atlantic Avenue. Class 2 motor vehicle, Joseph J. McDonough Associates, 1608 North Shore Road.
What happened to Kevin's Auto? Was that in there?
I think it was last month. I think we approved it. Is there a motion on the table to approve the license renewals?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Those have been approved. Our next meeting will be scheduled for a special hearing for next Wednesday. What's today's date?
The 29th.
29th? What, this Wednesday?
Next Wednesday?
This coming Wednesday. Yeah, next Wednesday, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
29th.
Okay, and that's January 20th, and then
3 o'clock?
and then the other one.
19th.
19th.
February 19th.
Okay, so a special meeting will be set for January 29th for a hearing for Wonderland, 3 o'clock for Wonderland Ballroom. And then the next meeting will be Wednesday, February 19th at 3 p.m.
At that time, will we be taking up item number 7?
Item number 7 is... Yes, at that, I'm sorry, on the 19th? No, it's the 20, yes, we will. Yes, so item number 7, an application for a special one-day entertainment license will be taking up at the meeting on January 29th. Is there a motion to close today's meeting?
Motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.